Yo, what's good, guys? It's Austin here with Aura Luna. So today's story time is definitely a pretty funny one and pretty ridiculous one, and I've been waiting to tell it for a while. And it's kind of like a part two to a story time I told fairly recently. So I told a story maybe like a week or two ago, maybe not even that long ago, about a teacher I used to have named Mr. Hall. I don't want to spoil the story time, but he was just into some really crazy stuff for a teacher, and he was a funny, really cool dude. And this story time is about him again. This story time takes place 2 weeks after that story time. So I recommend you go watch that one first. I'll link it first, link in the description. Definitely check that out first so you could better understand this one. But yeah, let's just jump into today's story time. I hope you guys enjoy this. If you do, please leave a like on the vid, and let's jump into this. So today's story time all takes place in freshman year. It all starts off as a normal day. I wake up, I get up out of bed, I take a shower, I eat some breakfast. For once, I was actually up early, so I was actually able to enjoy my morning and really wake up before going to school. So I go to school, I get there, I walk to my locker, I get whatever I need out of my locker, and I go to my first period class and start my day like usual. Now, fast forward to Mr. Hall's class, I was excited because Mr. Hall's class was the shit. Anytime I had Mr. Hall's class, I was relieved because I knew that he was a cool teacher and I could pretty much do whatever I wanted. Not anything I wanted, but most things, and kind of just, he'd be chill with it. Plus, Mr. Hall was a very patient teacher. Like, if I didn't understand something or I wasn't getting enough work done in time, he always kind of cut me a break and would be patient about it. He was a cool dude, to say the least. Mr. Hall was the shit. And we get to Mr. Hall's class, me and my friends, and I sit down next to them. And around this time, we were working on this project. He would always have everybody working in groups. Like, pretty much every week, we had some project we'd be working on. So we got to sit in groups a lot. So I was sitting at a table with my friends. It was me and 4 other people at one table. And it was like the circle round tables. So yeah, I'm just sitting at this big table in a circle with my friends. And Mr. Hall walks into the classroom. The bell rings. Mr. Hall was late to his own class, which I thought was hilarious. And he walks in and he looks really, really anxious. And I was like, "What's up, Mr. Hall? You look nervous." He's like, "Oh, I'm really, really stressed out. I left something at home that I need, and I needed to teach class. I left it at home, and I'm mad." I was like, "Oh, what is it?" He's like, "Oh, it's my USB flash drive. I left it at home. It had stuff on there for today's lesson, and I really need it." And then one of my friends speaks up. He's like, "Mr. Hall, just go home and grab it quick. We'll wait for you. It's only a 10-minute drive from here." And for some reason, Mr. Hall thought that was a good idea. He goes, "Really? You guys will wait for me?" And I'm like, yeah." And he goes, "Okay, cool. I'll be right back. I'm going to run home quick." And he leaves the classroom and tells us all to behave. The dude just left us alone for 20 minutes. And everyone in the entire classroom immediately starts being menaces. Everyone jumps up out of their seats. One dude ran over to the window and opened it and started smoking a cig out the window. And then a couple of my friends that weren't at my table walked over to me and my friend's table and sat down with us. So at this point, we had 8 people around our table. And one of my friends pulls out a bowl and starts smoking in the middle of class. And I was like, "Yo, what are you doing?" He's like, "Come on, man, just a little sesh, And he passes it to me. And I'm sitting there thinking the window's open. We got 20 minutes. Why not? And me and my friends proceed to start smoking a bowl in the middle of the classroom, just hotboxing the class. And people were running over to our table, sitting down with us and joining us. And pretty much half the class at one point was having a full-blown smoke sesh in the middle of the school classroom. And I thought we were in the clear. I thought he wouldn't be back for at least 20 minutes. I really thought we were all good. So yeah, me and my friends just kept smoking. Everyone in the class was having a good time. Pretty much just partying in the middle of a school classroom. And yeah, after we finished that bowl, one of my friends runs over to the computer, Mr. Hall's computer to be specific, pulls up YouTube, and starts watching funny-ass videos on the projector in front of the whole class. And yeah, half the class is high as fuck dying at these videos on the projector. And then I realized something. It's been 15 minutes. There's probably another 5 minutes that we have of being alone until Mr. Hall comes back. And the classroom still reeked like weed. And there was even a little bit of smoke still in the class. And I was like, okay, we got to figure something out quick. So after I told my friends that it still reeked like weed and we needed to do something, my friend has a pretty good idea. He's like, "All right, man, let's go to the windows. Let's open all of them. Let's air this bitch out for as long as we possibly can until Mr. Hall comes back and get that smell out of here." So we run over to the windows, we open them all up really wide. It was pretty cold out, so the room got cold pretty quick, but it was helping with the smell. My friend also ran over to the teacher's bathroom across the hall and stole the air freshener and ran back and sprayed it all over the room and then put it back in the teacher's bathroom. And then he came back and we sat down after closing all the windows. And we thought that we were in the clear. We thought that it didn't smell like weed anymore. We thought that it was going to be not noticeable. But little did we know, it still did. Except now it smelled like weed and air freshener mixed together. And yeah, a couple minutes later, Mr. Hall walks in through the classroom door. And the look on his face when he walked in the door, it's like he immediately knew everything that just happened. He walked in and his face went from smiling to just like pure disappointment. And he goes, "What the hell were you guys doing while I was gone?" And I look at him, and he looks at me immediately, and he goes, "Austin, why are your eyes so red?" And I was like, "Nothing." He goes, "It reeks like weed and air freshener in here. Who was smoking the weed? I know you were one of them, Austin." And my entire table of like 8 people start laughing their ass off because they knew we were all caught red-handed. And he walks up to all of us in disappointment, and he goes, "Guys, I love you all to death, but you can't be smoking weed when I turn my back in my classroom. Like, I'm going to get in trouble. Like, you want to go home and smoke weed on your own free time? By all means, be my guest. But you can't be doing it in school. You just can't. What if the principal walked in here and saw that I wasn't here watching you guys? I could have gotten in trouble." And of course, my smart-ass friend was like, "Well, Mr. Hall, you're the one that left us alone. That's your fault." And, I mean, he had a point to an extent, but, like, still, we shouldn't have been doing what we were doing to begin with. And yeah, I just said sorry to him. I was like, "Mr. Hall, my bad, man. Like, I'm sorry. You're right. It was definitely not right of us to be smoking weed in class." And he's like, "It's fine. Just please don't ever do it again, guys. You get me in a lot of trouble. I like teaching you guys. I don't want to lose my job." And that was literally all he did. He didn't, like, punish us, didn't give us detention. Like, he could have easily gave the whole class detention that day if he really wanted to, but he didn't. He, like, completely cut us a break, which was wild to me. But anyway, Mr. Hall turns around and proceeds to go and pull up the lesson for the day on the projector. And he goes, "Okay, now that most of the class is high as hell, let's focus on today's lesson." And like 90% of the whole class bursted out laughing. And it was just a crazy fever dream of a class that day. Like, I could not fathom the fact that we had a full-blown smoke sesh in the middle of Mr. Hall's class. It was insane to me. But that being said, moral to this story is, don't do what me and my friends did in Mr. Hall's classroom. That is like the definition of a bad idea. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much where that story time ends. Mr. Hall didn't get any of us in trouble for what we did. He cut us a break, and he just further proves to be one of the nicest teachers I've ever met in my damn life. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this story time. If you did, please leave a like on the video. I would really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below. And subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys all later. Peace.
Butterfly in the doors, make them all go. 30K in my face, I still don't show. You talking down when you looking up and I'm like, what's up? You talking down when you looking up and I'm like, what's up? They leave me out for the dead and now